Welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast. We're coming to you from Service Management 2015 in Sydney. I'm Kirsty McGowan. I'm here with co-host Tristan Boot.
Hello everybody.
Ivan McFarlane.
Hello there.
And today we're talking to Lana Yakimoff.
Hello.
Hi Lana, lovely to see you here.
Lovely to be here, thank you for the invite.
So Lana, one of the things that's been quite a theme of this conference seems to be, it's been emerging over the last few years, and it's starting to get a bit of legs now, is SIAM.
Yes.
And you've recently done an actual real living implementation of it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that and challenges and how it's gone?
Perhaps too, as you start, just explain what SIAM is for the people out there who actually have got no idea what we're talking about and think it's a country somewhere in Asia.
Well, it's not about Thai food, that's for sure. It is. It's SIAM. It's now technically got it's an acronym. Service integration and management, and the implementation we started was a 3-year journey and continuing. So it started 5 years ago, and it was because of a need for managing multiple vendors. And really, it is about having a services integrator, and then integrating all the vendors to play in the one space. Right. So someone policing the vendors, if you like, to keep them in line. Manage their performance, make sure they're doing the right thing at the right time. So it's really about not just service management, but governing everybody that's playing in that space. So this was a government implementation in Canberra, and there was potentially 5 key vendors, which was interesting. As you can imagine, we've all got our opinions and experiences and the way we do things. So you need to be able to play together, and you need to put your egos aside. And grow up a little bit, and some vendors are not as mature as others, and some play there. When we've done this before, we did this, and it's like, well, no, we're here now. Let's focus on today, and bring it into the future. The one thing I found challenging, and I think the reason why it took so long, was the customer thought that they could outsource everything. So we're not accountable, we're not responsible, but it's wrong.
You can't outsource accountability or responsibility.
And it's a common theme. It even occurred in SIAM. So eventually, after 6 months of to and fro and not really getting any traction, we just approached the customer and said, look, you really need to do this. You need to own this. Yes, you've got someone to police, operationally and tactically, but strategically you own this. So it was interesting. Once they, we all got on board and got there, it was hard. I think the biggest challenge was the people, and which is not a new thing, obviously. It's like that in service management. But we did get there, but it took a long time. And I think the results were amazing, and I think the other second challenge we had was when they thought that we'd finished doing the design, that we would just throw it into transition operations and forget all about transition. Well, that wasn't going to work either.
I'm a great fan of service transition having some use.
Funny that.
Can't understand that.
Not that I'm biased.
No.
And it needs to be done properly, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, absolutely, and it's really interesting, of course. IT that thinks it's different. IT is teenaged. It thinks it's invented everything. But if you look at engineering, these issues are here, right? So I've built this ship. I'm going to finish the ship on the 13th of June. So on the 14th of June, we'll have the first cruise. There are some things that have to go on in between. It's not a new idea, and yet it seemed to come as a shock to people in IT all the time.
It's funny, isn't it? So they thought that they could do what they called early life support and have it done and dusted within 2 weeks.
Good.
Right, so I was like, oh, okay, we're that good, are we? But we did a strategic planning session, and we did a bit of a show and tell as to what you need to consider and all the things. And I think it was really good to show the customer and actually all the other vendors, because they were thinking 2 weeks and that's fine, and we can cut back everybody and go straight into BAU. Not the case. So we wrote the strategic plan and the requirements for go live exit, and we all contributed to that, and we monitored that. And so we developed a board that met every lunch and in the evenings for the first week. And we said basically once we have 20% less, or 20 or so items left off the exit strategy, from 100, and we had metrics and we were measuring it and monitoring it, and it took 5 weeks until the customers like, we're happy, we really can now truly throw it into operations, and they didn't realise the importance of service strategy. And we had a wonderful concept that I came up with. We had ELS angels.
Yes.
So we were floor walkers basically with little halos and a t-shirt saying ELS. Yeah, it was quite, and literally the uptake of support and how do I do this and tips and tricks was amazing. And they really loved that. It was just a real, supporting the people, which is key.
And it's really important in those stages that you teach people how to find out in the future.
Yes.
I've seen so many situations where you do get these IT angels come in and something breaks and they fix it. And that's fine while they're still there.
Yes.
I'm certainly having this in our project. You need to teach them how to find out, not just do it.
Well, I was going to say there's obviously future uses for the halo.
Yes.
Maybe you actually need to just brush the halo off every now and then and come back.
Exactly.
and do that.
So, and there's that human element to any go live, and I think a lot of us forget about that. A lot of customers don't see the need for that, but the uptake, and there was, and they were really pleased, and they're still using everything today. They see SIAM themselves.
I mean, that's certainly been a recurring theme of people we've talked to today, is that whole, sometimes a lack of focus on that cultural change, even though we know we have to do it, we talk about doing it, but at the end of the day, it's, that's just the people. We're worried about the process, and we're worried about the technology. The people will just follow along behind.
That'll be fine.
It's
and
just
it's
so
the one
hard.
that doesn't work.
Yes,
It is filed under too difficult, was the phrase we used to
Yeah.
use in government.
Or where can I cut the funds?
The people side of things.
It's that testing, they're like, we don't need to test anymore. It's okay.
It's just too nebulous for them to see the value in it. They can see this piece of technology there. Okay, I've paid X number of dollars for that. That's fine. You've written me these processes. They're concrete. I don't mind paying dollars for that. We're talking about changing the way my people think and act.
I don't see it.
I can't understand that. I like the way my people are. They're fine.
But the fundamental issue there, and I think Rob England said this, actually one of the hypotheticals at this conference a few years ago, but it just stuck in my head, was that people don't change at the same pace as technology, and we absolutely expect them to. You throw it and say, and you pick it, and then if you're not actually giving them this support, as we're saying,
And the other thing is people don't change at the same pace as each other either. You've got a lag. Different people uptake at different times.
And also, people are like memory foam. You send them on the training course, you do all the right things, and they're in the shape that you want them to be. Take your eyes off them, the buggers go back again.
And then they're like, well, they'll just read the manual. But so many of us don't ever read the manual. How many times have you bought a new product and I'll just wing it?
Yeah, you do.
But you can't.
And people who work in IT are the worst for that.
Nobody under the age of 50 expects there to be a manual anymore.
No.
Well,
You expect it to be intuitive. And if it's not intuitive, you've built it wrong in the current situation.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree. There was a presentation yesterday where they developed a requirements manual, and they showed us the manual, and they called it the shit umbrella. Can I swear? Is that okay?
You're Australian now.
And it's
Australian,
like,
you can swear.
when the shit hits the fan, the manual goes up here, right? And they called it the shit umbrella, and they thought, well, the customer was blaming them, saying, well, why does it do this and that? And it's like, well, it's in the requirements manual. You do not read it. You signed it. So it's manuals are potentially useless.
It is just not the way we're bringing our children up. You give them the Apple advertising for the iPad. You already know how it works. That's the 21st century attitude, and we're building IT in the 19th century way.
How many kids do you see walk up to a TV these days and try and expand that?
That's right.
I've got a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she thinks, you go up to the TV and you just touch it and it's going to do what you want it to do.
You wish that the tool, the
And
technology...
it will in a few years.
It will, yes.
And how do we, as an industry, actually, develop and adapt to actually support that kind of requirement, because it's massive.
Well, the approach from IT at the moment seems to be that's not how it is. That's not a constructive attitude.
The people who are
That's
entering
the key word, attitude.
Our new entrants to the workforce now are expecting things to just work, and they are expecting to just push a button, touch a screen, and it's going to do what they expect to do. They don't they don't expect to have to sit and be trained in the technology because they've grown up with technology as extensions of themselves.
We don't run training courses. We didn't run training courses in my day on how to use a pencil.
Yeah,
And
that's
we're
right.
actually an analogised forward. We're exactly
Yes.
at that situation.
I think we overcomplicate things.
We do, we do.
I was watching a terrible 80s movie recently, and there's a scene in that.
They're good, aren't they?
There's a scene in that, a certain, shall we say, nerd gets on a computer and sort of, draws a picture of himself on the computer like this, and then does one of the girl, and then does one of them walking off into the distance together. And people, expected from watching that was how computers worked. And we're in no different space now. But what we're not doing is communicating that, hang on, we need to just have a bit of a conversation about what you actually want and how we do it.
The presentation that I did the last time I was here, two years ago, IT's not like the movies, with a lot of problem with that. Because every detective movie you watch, this small team has one person that can, in 2 minutes, hack through all the firewalls of UK and US government using an out-of-date mobile phone. And that's the message we're giving to people. IT's that easy.
Yeah.
You just need one person who can do anything at all.
It seems to be for the hackers.
Yeah.
They're professionals. That's what they do for a living.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we're getting there.
Yep. So anyway, Lana, we have had a great deal of pleasure chatting with you this morning.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again in the future.
Absolutely, love
It's
to.
been a great conference.
It
too,
has been
so
a great conference, and I really love these podcasts. So
yes.
thank you
Oh,
so
good.
much for sharing globally.
Yeah.
The great people you talk to,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
yeah, it's lovely. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun doing
I
it.
wish you could do a pop-up.
Yeah.